report by the Washington Post says some of the classified documents seized by FBI agents at the Florida home of Donald Trump last month were so sensitive that even the Biden administration's most senior national security officials weren't cleared to examine them. One document reportedly details the nuclear capabilities and military defenses of an unnamed foreign power. The Washington Post says its report is based on information provided by people familiar with the matter, but the identity of the foreign government whose nuclear capabilities are supposedly outlined in the document has not been revealed. Well, for more on this, let's bring in Arise U.S. correspondent Eric Ham, who joins us live from Washington. Good to see you, Eric. And the idea that these documents were so sensitive that the Biden administration's most senior security officials weren't cleared to examine them. I mean, that sounds like a real big deal. Tell us more.
Well, Charles, we learn more and more information, not only about the documents, but about how the documents were stored, but more importantly, about how the United States attempts to safeguard such secrets, but also such information important to U.S. national security. We're now learning that the former president not only had top secret documents, but he had information on a foreign power's nuclear information. Again, very secret information, very complicated information that could prove to be detrimental not only to the United States, but to this foreign power if, in fact, it got into the wrong hands. And so we're learning that not only did the former president have these documents, but we're learning that he kept them in a drawer in his office where his passport, his medical information was. And also what I've been told from national security experts and those who have worked with top secret documents is that Mar-a-Lago is now and still remains and was at the time, of course, seen as or could potentially be a soft target because you have people coming in and out. And also now this is a place where you have many of the United States government's most secure information. And it's only under a lock and key, which anyone could have access to or get access to. In fact, we're learning from these videotapes that the FBI retrieved from Trump's residence that we saw people coming and going from this locked facility. And what's important, Charles, is that not only does the former president now as a private citizen does not have the access to look at this information, but the people who were also handling this information also did not have the top secret security clearance to be able to look at this. In fact, now with the special master that might possibly be brought in to look at these documents, that's going to be a very tricky and complicated maneuver for both sides because you have to have someone who is read in, who has the clearance to be able to look at this. And not all judges, even former or retired judges, have that clearance capability to even look at what Donald Trump had access to.
And you made a very important point there, Eric, about Mr. Trump's Florida estate also operating as a private members club, which obviously raises further questions about the security of those highly classified documents. Has there been any comment or reaction from Donald Trump's team to that report?
Charles, we have not heard much from the president, the former president, or his representatives about why he had these documents, what his plan was for these documents, and more importantly, how many other people had access to these documents. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why we know that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence is going through this security assessment to see if there was any damage or if there was any information that might have been compromised as a result of the former president having access to these documents. We know that is a process that is playing out right now. The FBI, based on what we're told from the court decision, the Justice Department has already gone through these documents, which is why they said no, a special master was not needed. But still, as to what if these documents were compromised, that assessment is still actually taking place by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence.
And if those documents were compromised and these allegations gain currency, what implications does all this have for Donald Trump?
Well, already he is facing a number of counts, including violation of the Espionage Act, because he actually had these documents. And Charles, if there is seen to be a credible threat assessment as a direct result of the former president absconding with these documents, I think what we see here is that only makes the former president's legal vulnerability that much greater. Now, of course, we're in unprecedented territory right now. No former president has ever actually left the White House with as much information and with such classified information. And so right now, of course, all of this is still seen as uncharted territory, not only for the government, but more importantly, for intelligence sources and agencies that have to actually confront the very real possibility that these documents, this information, could have been compromised.
And Eric, this is, of course, a Washington Post report that is based on, it says, people who are familiar with the information, but it doesn't name its sources. I mean, how much does that raise more questions than it answers?
Well, it does. It raises more questions because the questions, of course, are what foreign government are we talking about and what actual information in response to their nuclear capabilities did the former president have? And it also begs the question, was the former president specifically targeting this country? And if so, what was the former president's modus operandi as to why he felt he needed this information, again, as a private citizen, not as president of the United States?
Eric, thank you for that very comprehensive analysis. Eric Ham, Arise US correspondent, talking to me there from Washington.